We are live. This is Travis from Carter Cow Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom throughout the Forex market. I hope everybody's doing very well today. Hopefully, everybody ended up having a green day yesterday when it came down to the trades and everything else like that for being able to put everything together. Let's see. Yesterday started working on the phone miles away. But what we're going to end up doing today, just like always, is we're going to end up taking a look at some overall trading pairs, see if we can be able to get into those, see if there's any type of opportunities that we can be able to go through. We're also going to end up talking about the trades that we ended up taking yesterday or last night in the night session, and then after that, see if there's anything available when it comes down to that. I hope everybody's doing very well. If you would do me a favor, make sure that you end up typing inside of the chat box. It's always good to be able to know who's actually here. Obviously, the people that are through the Discord group, the Discord community, and everything else like that, please make sure that you end up sending your messages, obviously, through the Discord so I can be able to take a look at y'all's. Obviously, y'all's are first come, first serve when it comes down to this because I know exactly when y'all sending y'all messages. But with that being said, look, I ain't get through the disclaimer. I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. Now, understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money, also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you can end up making money today. So with that being said, I am going to have to refresh my screen based off of what I just seen and being able to do that. And I am a little bit late, so I owe y'all push-ups. So I'll make sure I end up doing that after the session. But hopefully everybody's doing very well. Showing myself on the screen. There we go. Hope everybody's doing very well. If you're not familiar with who I am, my name is Travis. I've been trading for the last 6 years. Been on TradingView for the last 3. And since legitimately, I want to say May, we have been doing Trade with Travis at least one time a day. And then especially going into late July and everything else, been doing it 2 times a day. So we do it from 6:30 to about 7:05 ish, and then after that we end up going again and then talking about what happened later on that night, right around 9 p.m. or 2100 when it comes down to the time. So what's been going on with everybody? Hope everybody's doing very well. As people start to be able to pop in, make sure that you end up saying, hey, hopefully everybody's going very well. What's going on, Arizona? Hope everything's going on with you. Going on well with you. Fatty, what's going on? Hope everything's going well with you. I see Veggie Driver is online. I don't know if she's actually talking, but I'm gonna send her a message anyway. Let's see if she's online. Are you on the stream? There we go. Brian, I see Brian. Brian, I hope everything's going well with you. We'll talk about the pairs that we end up getting on. I'll make sure we end up going through and take a look at those. All right, so economic calendar, what's going on with it? Today, what we're going to end up seeing, today's the first day of the month. Keep this in mind. First day of the month, typically the end of the week and sometime right around the middle, there's going to end up being a big push in some type of direction. It always happens. Typically from October, from Pushtober, to keep on moving into to November, to December, and then to early January. We end up getting our biggest push. We end up getting direction. Now, this is stabilization. Is the market going to continue to move this way? Are we going to end up seeing a lot of a push when it comes down to that movement? Going into today, what we're going to end up seeing is that we're going to see ISM PMIs from the United States. We're going to end up seeing unemployment rate from New Zealand. And then after that, we're going to see Governor Macklin end up speaking a little bit later on tonight, which is kind of odd because typically Canada doesn't do anything late at night. But we'll take a look at that. And then after that, we got monetary policy statements going on. On Wednesday, we have the Fed talking for its interest rate decision. So keep this in mind. We are sandwiched in between the first day of the month and being able to have high impact news. So today, in my personal opinion, is that we're probably going to end up seeing the market be slow. And the reason why I think that the market's going to end up being slow is because I think it'll end up having one big pop in whatever direction that the market may end up moving. And then after that, we'll start to stabilize with the news that the interest rate decision will end up coming out. Currently, right now, we're at 3.25. They're expecting that it's going to end up going up another 75 basis points to where it's going to end up being 4%. And based off of that 4%, then after that, you may end up seeing a strong move in a certain direction. Now, obviously, the raising of interest is going to end up affecting a lot of different things. Obviously, we've been talking about inflation. That's the biggest thing that we have to be able to talk about all throughout all of these sessions. But the thing is, how is the market going to end up being affected by that move overall, and kind of going from there? Okay, so that's the biggest thing. Here we go. United States dollar index, as we take a look at, I'm seeing that it actually ended up falling. So that's good news for the indexes. If we end up taking buys on the indexes, obviously we took a buy on Nas 100. We end up taking a buy on we end up taking a buy on DAX as well. So I know DAX has nothing to do with the United States dollar, but obviously we know that that is the case. So weekly, what we've been paying attention to is this market. Um, Market has been basically in a consolidation. We know the consolidation now is 13,550, and then after that, the support is at 13,280. So that means that anything that drops below 280 means that the market is going to end up being truly bearish. The market breaks above 13,560, then the market is going to end up being bullish. Now, with that being said, over the course of this overall move, I'm seeing that the market end up basically bouncing off of this movement last week, started to push up. We're starting to retest, but I think that retest, I thought that the retest was going to go all the way up to 13,411. With that being said, the market has started to push down. Because the market has been pushing down at this particular point, do expect that 13,282 will probably end up getting touched at some point in time, and being able to go from there. Now, with that being said, if you are trading this as a move, the question is, should you be looking at being able to make a trade off of this? Um, and the answer to that one is kind of confusing. The reason why I say it's kind of confusing is this, because we're in the middle of consolidation. Obviously, y'all know I don't like trading inside of consolidation. That's been the one thing that I've learned from all of my bad experiences forward trading, was that I got caught in consolidation. I wasn't patient enough to allow the move to be able to continue making its move. But overall, there's a counter trend line break that also has happened. We know that there has been a move to the downside, and there has been a counter trend line break that's kind of in phase with everything else that has been happening as well. So the question is, where's this market going to go? Because we got all the way up to the 618, which means that if it does fall, it's going to end up falling down to 13,149, which kind of matches up with that, which kind of matches up with the bottom of this consolidation area that we've been talking about. Um, so I'm kind of torn on this one. This is a 50-50 coin flip right now. And it's a 50-50 coin flip inside of consolidation, meaning to me it's not a great setup. So I'm going to stay away from that pair. I hope everybody understands why I said that, but I don't think that's a great pair to be able to jump into. United States dollar index, just the pairs for right now. For right now, it's not a great pair to be able to get into. Now, if it breaks that triangle, then we can be able to kind of look at it again, but there's nothing to be able to do on that one right now. All right, U.S. oil end up taking a buy on oil last night. I'm glad to see that it popped up. I hadn't even looked at my pairs yet. Let's see. Okay, we're doing okay. DAX were up. Oil, we are up. Nas 100, we are absolutely killing it. Okay, good. There we go. There we go. Good way to start off the month. There we go. So let's talk about it real quick. So we end up having a plan to be able to buy right around 86 when the market ended up basically placing us in on this pair. Um, Market was a consolidation, had a big breakout. We ended up having take profit be hit at 88.50, which was the first take profit. And then from there, we ended up saying that we wanted to go all the way up to 94. 94.50, knowing that the D extension was going to end up being at 103. Now, keep this in mind. Oil, natural gas are going to end up starting to push up when it comes down to overall movement, especially because it's the winter months. And we're going to get into natural gas as well because Arizona, was it you that kept on talking about natural gas? We just haven't traded it in a while. Um, it's somebody that was talking about natural gas, and we took a look at it. I said I'm going to take it more seriously. But either way, market broke out, retested this overall past resistance, turn future support. When I ended up noticing last night that the market ended up giving us this indecision candlestick, and it basically ended up retesting this, and the buyers ended up buying it back inside. It was basically at our entry point, so I was okay with being able to take the move. My thought process was that we're going to be aggressive and be able to jump in early, um, meaning that we see this little peak and hopefully we can be able to get in before the market ends up making this movement, or we're going to catch it with a full counter trend line break and a full candlestick above. I end up giving two options. Whichever one that you end up choosing was on you. I actually end up being a little bit more aggressive. I end up catching this one last night at 86.83. 86.83 was my entry point. So I'm actually going to end up placing a new movement right here. Let's see, 86.83 was my entry. Caught it right here when the market started to be able to push up a little bit. Felt confident about it. And as we see, the market starting to move up a little bit as well. So if you're not in, the question is, should you look at being able to get in? We still have a little bit more room. There has been a counter trend line break for this overall movement. I wouldn't necessarily rule it out to look at being able to jump in. The only thing that I do not like right now currently is that we have a large decision candlestick, a indecision candlestick, and a decision candlestick, and somewhat of a decision candlestick going the opposite way. So you may end up getting a better chance to be able to hop in a little bit later on based off of the movement and see if the market's going to fall down just a little bit more before being able to jump in. I don't know if this is going to be the start of consolidation or just a overall upside move because the market hasn't moved yet. Okay, so keep that in mind. You got in early with us. Congratulations. Obviously, you're up. Now it's just being given to manage the trade. Our stop loss is in a very good position. So that means that we can give it a little bit of room to be able to make some movement from there. Okay, so there goes oil. You end up taking oil. You should be up. We end up going from there. Yeah, we figured out the news. We better, in my opinion, as oil. We'll see what happens with gold today. Okay, same thing. Yeah. All right. Gold. Look at gold. Jeez. Okay, that makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. I still don't like it. Golly. I still don't like it. Unfortunately. All right. So gold from a weekly perspective, what's happening? 16.15 with the support. Market is not close to that yet. We end up seeing that the market went into a consolidation. We end up winning some trades as the market broke below 1667 and fell down to 1615, 1617, respectively. The reason why we end up doing those was because that we end up feeling like there was going to end up being a move that we can be able to take advantage of as the market was trying to figure out what was happening with his overall self. And because of that, I just need to turn off hedging if I'm not going to trade it. I'm not going to trade hedging. There's no reason for me to be able to have this in here. Just trade the breakout. We'll see what happens. From there, we end up seeing that the weekly was basically in a minor little pivot area. Give me 1 second. Just got a message from somebody else. Okay, cool. Um, so today, what has happened, at least at the beginning of the day, the market had a strong move to the upside. Now, keep this in mind. It's in the middle of a consolidation. Because it is in the middle of consolidation, I don't like trading inside of consolidation. It's a 33% chance of being able to win because we're directly in the middle of consolidation. So even though we have a strong push, I'm not going to be a part of that push. We'll see what happens if the market breaks above 1671. Then I'll look at being interested in being able to get back in because that means that it's proven that it's ready to be able to move. But until then, there's really nothing to be able to do. Now, from an ADC, from a Fibonacci perspective, the market went as deep as it could go without breaking the A, which is kind of funny. It went down to 1614. The lowest point at this one's at 1617, which means that the market does pop up and it does break out of this area, take profit, we end up being at 1751. 1751 will be the long-term take profit area once it ends up happening. So the game plan for me is very simple. Market ends up breaking above 1671. Market breaks above 1671, I will have a pending order ready to go if it does break in that area. Now, the reason why I'm saying 1671, I know that there's a large consolidation area, but it has to break this smaller consolidation area for me to even consider it, even though I know that I don't necessarily like being able to trade in consolidation. Um, so even to me, I still think it's still a okay setup, not the greatest setup in the world, but it's a if you're gonna make a move, hopefully we make a move with people being able to break out of the first phase of this. So risk will end up being all the way down below the A at 1614. Reward take profit one will end up being the top of the resistance at 1734, and then after that take profit two based off of that same position will end up being up to 1751 if the market does break that overall area. with the same risk reward when it comes down to that movement. Now, overall, um, don't know if that's going to end up happening. Hush, Tucker. Hush. You will go outside in a second. Um, don't know if that's going to end up happening. Don't know if even when this does happen, if I'm going to end up pulling the trigger on it just because of consolidation. But it is telling me that the United States dollar, at least at the beginning of the day, is starting to have a little bit of weakness when it comes down to movement. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through and see what's happening with everything in this movement. Okay, once the flag appear, Fibo 1700 target will be after the U-turn. Makes sense. Uh, so you're scalping a little bit more inside of it. Um, I can see that. I can see that. Me, I'm gonna play it steady on this one. I'm trying to get prepared for these prop firm challenges. So I'm only looking for the premier setups. I'm looking for something that I know that for certain that I feel good about, and kind of going from there. Da, 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 da. US yen. We're gonna go through that one real quick because we have been talking about that one. Euro Australian dollar has started to fall. We talked about that trade. Talked about that trade earlier. We never placed in an order, but I am seeing that the hourly is in the sell zone off of this one. Huh. It says something down here. It says stop loss will have to be above the swing high. The swing high is right here. Do we have a fractal yet? Yes, we do. We have two candlesticks to the left and two candlesticks to the right that are actually below it. What's happening with the daily? Daily's in the buy zone. Not the greatest thing in the world. And basically, hush. And basically, what will happen is that we have a breakout retest type of situation. I'm going to stay away from this one as well. I'm not going to look at that one. Euro United States dollar. So, Euro United States dollar from a which one, which pair, and which one? You said that was a harmonic. Which pair and which one? Thanks for the people that just started to follow. OZ, Lajanta, and Kajua, thanks for being able to pop in. Alira, thanks for being able to pop in as well. Gzilla, a few people end up popping in. For people that end up following, thanks for being able to pop in. I do appreciate that. I'll be contacting each and every one of y'all soon. Euro United States dollar, and then after that, we're going to talk about the pairs that we're in. Is slowly starting to be able to push out of this triangle and trying to get up to the 382. We talked about that the first movement of being able to break out of here will be up to the 382. You caught that based off of the triangle. That happened last week. We ended up making money off of that movement. Great for everybody when it came down to that. Daily, the market has broken out. Now we have a little bit of a retest. The market is not in the buy zone from this overall movement. Keep that in mind. But it is retesting this overall triangle, which means to me that we're starting to see a little bit more signs of good news that's happening with the Eurozone overall. And this may be the start of excuse me. This may be the start of a little bit of a resurgence from the Eurozone as well. And that means that we need to take a look at what's happening with the pound. Because if that's going to end up being the case, remember I said the euro, the pound, and the Japanese yen were going to be three pairs that I was going to pay attention to more than anything else this year or going into next year. There's a move to be talked about right here. There is a move to be talked about right here. Question is, should we take it? Market fell all the way back to the 618. There's a counter trend line break. There's a D extension at 102.60, which matches up with the 102.80 that we end up seeing. The United States dollar has been falling a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of distress move from the downside going to the upside. Um, 2 hours in the sell zone. That's the only thing that I don't like. But this is a breakout, a prime breakout and retest. Um, hmm. What you think? What you think? I'm gonna put that one out to the universe. I'm gonna ask y'all what y'all think about this one. Um, Euro United States. So what y'all think? Curious on that one. Would you take the move? Would you not take the move? What y'all gonna end up doing? Um, mm, 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 mm. All right, this is what it will look like if I'm limping in. I put stop loss below. I put stop loss below 98.50 if I'm going to do it. Take profit on this one. Brown, what you saying? I see is and we got a good risk reward. Um, is it the greatest setup in the world? No. Is the United States dollar down this morning? Yes. Is it the beginning of the month? Yes. Um, is the market going to be slow for the United States dollar overall today? Yes. That means that there could be potential weakness. Has the Eurozone been weak pretty much against every pair? Yes. But the problem is when I looked at Euro Australian dollar, I ended up seeing that the Euro Australian dollar was at the support. Now the question is on the Euro Australian dollar, is people looking at being able to buy that? Because if people are going to look at being able to buy that, along with other pairs, we may end up seeing that the market may end up having a little bit of a resurgence. We got a Euro index in here. I know there's an index in here. Let's see. Let's picture index, gold index, Canadian index. Okay, Euro index. Let's take a look at this real quick. Has the weekly on the Euro index finally end up hitting take profit? Yes, it did. It hit take profit on this candlestick move right there at 12,868. Horizontal move. Okay, we got a break right there. So that means that the next field will at least go to the 382. The next field that has not been made yet for some reason will be from right here all the way down to right there. The market is pushed up to the 618, so the move is kind of done. The move is kind of done. Fell off already, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not that it can't push up anymore. We've had consolidation. I've seen the accumulation area. We're breaking above this overall area. I guarantee if we look at this on a daily, it'd be consolidation. Tucker, hush. You will go outside in a second. We're almost done. Jeez. I will call that natural support. Hush. I'm gonna call. Let's see. I'm gonna call that resistance. It's in the sell zone. I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna take it yet. I'm gonna wait. Maybe I might be wrong, but I'm gonna wait. because if the index as a whole, it's not going to end up breaking out of this area, then that means that the individual pairs are still going to end up. Individual pairs have had a strong couple of days, but it may not necessarily be ready to fully make a push yet. So I'm going to wait on this one. We'll come back to that one. Let's talk about the pairs that we're in. We'll take a look at Bitcoin as well. Matter of fact, let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick and hurry up get that over with. And then after that, we'll go through and take a look at the pairs that we're in. And then for my good old folks on in the Discord, we end up talking about other pairs that y'all would like to be able to take a look at after we end up getting out of here. Let's see. Bitcoin. So here's the deal. We broke out of this level at 18,972. Now 19,551 is the new natural market ended up breaking past 19,551. Has turned 20,350 into the new natural support area. Now we're starting to see a little bit more consolidation in this area overall when it comes down to this movement. And if we end up getting a push out of this area, then I think that we finally will see that there may end up being a large type of movement overall when it comes down to that. Let's see. Gosh. So we're still in the middle of it. I would like to see the market fall back down to that 20,000, 20,100 area. I'll be interested in being able to make a jump off of that one. That'd be more of a strategy for a type of trade. Right now, currently, there's nothing to be able to do off of that. Brian, if you, I know you're trying to send a message. I want to see what he says. I know it has something to do with United States dollar. I need EU to break above 99.65 before being able to enter. That number kind of makes sense. Well, here's the deal. There's a counter trend line break. Let's not get that twisted. There's a move that's already done happen. Um, the market end up bouncing off of this triangle. That has happened. My thing is that if I'm gonna jump into this movement, I can see why you say 98.65 because you're basically jumping and breaking past this overall high right here, or these overall two positions right there. I can see that as a potential move. The market has went all the way down to the 618 and started to move back into a R2 position, which is uh, a very good style of trade. My thing is that if we take a look at this from a 2 hour perspective, we are in the sell zone, which means to me that we may see this thing might give us a little bit more value before being able to get in. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we can't jump in and put a 1% trade into this either. Um, because if we put a 1% trade in, then that means that we could be able to add on again if we want to be able to do that as well. But man, I'm not going to talk myself into this one. There's better setups. If there's a better setup, then I won't pull the trigger on this one. Um, let's take a look at the pairs that we're already in. Um, so start off with DAX. DAX, we got in based off of this market breaking this overall consolidation box. We got in at 13, 13.3. I got 13.313. Um, there we go. Heck of a move. Heck of a move. That's exactly what we wanted to see as we want to kind of start it off. Daily's in the sell zone. Keep this in mind. Daily's going to end up being in the sell zone for a while. I think that's just going to end up being a larger type of movement that we're going to end up seeing this market pop up to. Plus, it broke out of this. It broke out of this 13,320 area with this high volume node that we end up seeing break out of there. So we said that we were going after this node right there. We're going after that pocket right there, all the way up to 13,615. Because of that movement, and because of that breakout to the upside, I felt pretty good about how the market was going to end up moving to the upside if it did happen. Once we end up getting that breakout, we end up placing in an order right at 13,313. And then from there, we're basically, essentially, once again, we're going up to 13,615. Now, if you missed the move on this one, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be very much interested in being able to jump into it right now, just based off of where we are. Um, I will, if you're trying to get into the move, I would kind of hope and kind of wait to see if the market's going to end up pushing down a little bit before being able to do that. But we caught it from here. This was our move from right here. Stop loss was below. Um, my stop loss was below the actual swing low. We got a 1 to 3.8 risk reward ratio. That's the type of setup that I like to be able to see. Low volume node coming out of consolidation, um, large upside potential when it comes down to that movement. That allows us to be able to be a little bit more aggressive when it comes down to that trade for us being able to do that. So that's where we're at right now on this movement. Congratulations to the people that end up taking it in our 9 o'clock session. If you end up missing it, then that means that you need to hop in that 9 o'clock session, obviously, and be able to see a little bit more movement from there. Currently, right now, is there anything to do? No, just ride it out. Just let it play itself out and kind of go from there. And we'll see how everything kind of maneuvers when it comes down to that position overall. Yeah, I'm just going. We end up going from there. All right. Both the other one, we end up getting into. We end up getting into oil. We talked about oil already. We end up getting into NAS 100. NAS 100. Let's see what's going on with this one. I said NAS 100 had a very big break that it could be able to do when it came down to push. We had two different take profit positions off of this one, and we're going to talk about both of them as well. So, one, this is the one time where I actually end up trading inside of a larger consolidation. We know that this is a larger consolidation, but we're leaving the peak of this larger consolidation when it comes down to this high volume node. Okay, that was the first thing that we ended up talking about. The second thing was that we end up seeing this triangle, and we said that if the market end up breaking above the triangle, then we'll be interested in being able to get in, and that will basically make us have to readjust what our stop loss is going to end up being. So I ended up getting in at 13,462 when it came down to this movement. 13,462 is hush, Tucker. It's right there, right when the market ended up breaking the counter trend line break. The stop loss was at 11,369. And we end up having two take profits. Take profit was at 11,1160, which is the top of resistance. And then after that, we end up having the huge breakout, if there was going to be one, at 12,080. Hush. We're getting ready to go. Currently, right now, same deal. 15-minute is getting close to the sell zone. Look at being able to see if the market's going to give a little bit of a reverse before being able to pop up. I hope that it doesn't, for my sake. Obviously, we're kind of entrenched into this move. But if it does give you a counter trend line break to be able to get into it, then I would say look at being able to ride that trade based off of that movement and kind of go from there to the upside. But I want to see how this market kind of plays out. Hopefully, we won't get a large downside movement based off of what ended up happening this morning. I do feel comfortable about where we're at overall when it comes down to that. And that'll be resistance 2 of today. Resistance 3 is at 11,746 based off of the indicators and everything else. So that's where we are when it comes down to that. I'm going to close out on this one. If you like what we end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. If you have any questions after the session or anything else like that, please make sure that you end up placing in a personal link or send me a personal message as we end up going through. I'd like to be a part of our overall Discord and be able to get all of this information plus more when it comes down to all of our groups and other trades and other settings that you'd like to be able to have. Don't hesitate to be able to consider being able to join. We always like being able to help out anybody when it comes down to that. Got a lot of great information on that website as well. Being able to go from there. Like always, plan your trade your plan. In order to be able to control your own luck, you got to be a risk taker. So keep that in mind. And I'll see each and every one of y'all in the next video.